Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Smackdown. I'm Bryon, and once again joined by an irresistible force, Mike. Say hi, Mike.
I love how the nickname or Nia Jax's nickname just got co-opted into as the tag team's nickname. When it's
True.
actually been Lash Legend that's been doing like a lot of the legwork for this team. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
Nia has been doing work, but it's the wrong kind of work, if you know what I mean. She's either there again, she's either there too late or too early, and it's just like,
she,
come on, man.
she's Nia Botch. You know,
Nia Botch. Yep. All right. Well, yes, we have that to await us this Friday, along with other things, as we try to predict and book the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And on this show, for those of you who don't know, we try to book and predict the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown according to these rules. And then we watch the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown, and then we basically score our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system, and then we tell you what we got on the next episode of this show, and then we do the whole booking thing all over again. So let's get to the scores. I have a 13, and that was because it was a go home show, which means that everything, or not everything, but everyone that's going to be in the pay-per-view, PLE, however you want to call it, they're there. I mean, Drew, Trick, Javon, LA Knight, Cody, Nick Aldis, I suppose. Tiffany, Asuka, Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu, everyone who is going to be participating in the Elimination Chamber matches, they're there. And then I have Obafemi and Jordan Grace winning their respective matches. And then I have the MFT and the Wyatt Six. Those are sort of most of the points, obviously, because they are the big factions happening on SmackDown. But yeah, I have 13 points there, so not bad for a go home show. What about you, Mike?
I have 11.5 points, mostly from again the people in the Elimination Chamber showing up. I also had points from the Tiffany Stratton Tiffany Stratton and Kairi Sane match, and all the shenanigans that went down with that. So, yeah,
Great.
SmackDown implications from an Elimination Chamber. I mean, the only ones we can think of are Jade and Rhea going at it.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for Jade to get absolutely squashed by Rhea.
Yeah, that match is going to last longer than 5 minutes. I can tell you that for a fact. Once the 5 minute marker starts, Jade is gonna start questioning what's going on in the ring. And that's when Rhea takes the title off of her. But we are getting a little too far ahead of ourselves, because not only is that face-off between Rhea and Jade scheduled, as announced, we also have Cody Rhodes taking on Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship as a result of Drew McIntyre being an asshat and ruining the men's Elimination Chamber match. So, without further ado, let's get to my version of the show first, and let's book this thing as Randy Orton walks to the ring. Randy Orton talks about what happened at the Elimination Chamber, and in fact, he won the Elimination Chamber. The win must have meant a lot to him. He now earns the opportunity, he says, to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. But Drew had to be an A-hat and ruin it, so now Cody has an opportunity to face Drew later tonight. He says Cody is his friend, but with that being said, doesn't matter who wins that match between Drew and Cody later tonight, because he will win the title at WrestleMania, and he will get that great number 15, which is the number that has eluded him for quite some time now. He is then interrupted by Drew McIntyre, who emerges from the ramp, says that it won't happen because he knows how to counter that RKO and disappoint his wife and his son, because at the end of the day, they will realize at WrestleMania that Drew is their real daddy. Drew is, however, ambushed before he can speak anymore by Cody Rhodes, and they brawl on the stage/ramp. Randy Orton comes in to interfere by attacking Drew, but he ends up missing and gets Cody instead. Nick Aldis and security come out to separate them, and Nick Aldis asks Randy to leave the show and to not interfere in the Cody versus Drew match later tonight. So, kind of builds up the tension between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, as well as hyping up the whole Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre situation. And we get some words out of Randy Orton because he won the Elimination Chamber for the men. So, there you go. Alexa Bliss takes on Kiana James next. I'm going to have Kiana James... Oh, this happens because... I don't know. last week, I suppose. But Kiana James wins by pinfall due to a failed distraction from Charlotte Flair, due to a miscommunication between Alexa and Charlotte. After the match, Julia beats up Charlotte Flair, while Kiana continues to beat up Alexa. I think this will lead to a women's US title feud between Charlotte, Flair, and Julia at WrestleMania. Alexa will play a role in the finish by betraying Charlotte Flair. Yes, I will have Alexa and Charlotte break up. And the miscommunication that happened in the match that is being booked here adds to the potential breakup storyline between the two leading up to Mania, and that's when we sort of pull the trigger on the breakup and start that storyline between Alexa and Charlotte kind of feuding against each other, I suppose. And then for the US title, that would be sort of the main crux between the two. Because, God, we need more solo women wrestlers in this division. And we have too much women's tag teams. But whatever the case. We'll move on to Jacob Fatu taking on Sami Zayn. It happens due to a backstage segment last week where Jacob and Sami had a little confrontation. I'm going to have Jacob Fatu win by pinfall. And this leads to Jacob Fatu interfering in a match later tonight. And Sami Zayn will have a backstage segment where he talks to Cody, I guess, about the match later tonight. And Sami is just kind of getting a little angry, a little mad that his opportunities are not... He's not taking advantage of them. And as a result, he's just going to be treated as an underdog for the rest of the year, until he gets that Royal Rumble win next year, so he can main event WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia and win the title. So that is that for Sami. Moving on, Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend head to the ring. They talk about the match between them and Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, and the fact that they won the match. They are now the new Women's Tag Team Champions. They're then interrupted by Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, who say that they're next in line for that title. They are then attacked by Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day, leading to a match between the two tag teams on Raw on the episode... Well, I should just say next week instead of the episode after this, but whatever. Nia Jax says that whoever wins this mess will have the opportunity to lose against them on Smackdown, because they know the Irresistible Forces run the show. And I think that with that match set, maybe, if it does, I think that Lyra and Bayley will be next because they are faces and they're taking on a heel tag team, and we need that for WrestleMania, I suppose. So there you go. Moving on, Motor City Machine Guns take on Fraxium in the number one contenders match for the Tag Team Championships. This happens because of a backstage segment last week between Nick Aldis and the MFTs, where the MFTs are like, yo, what the hell is this? What is going on? And Nick Aldis goes, alright, I'm guessing this whole thing is because, you know, friggin' the Wyatt Six, they want to take on that tag team gold. So I'm going to find a number one contenders for you. And I decided not to include the Wyatt Six in here because they will be integrated to the show at a different section, not this one. So, Motor City Machine Guns versus Fraxium. I will have Fraxium win by pinfall, leading to a feud between Fraxium and the MFT for the Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania. And the Wyatt Six will play a role in the finish of that match and cost MFT the championships. Now, why do I not say the Lantern? Well, the Lantern is going to be dealt with later in the show. But for now, we'll have a face-off between Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley enters the ring and talks about her match against Jade Cargill at Mania. She says she will take the title from Jade and be the new women's champion. Jade Cargill comes out and says that it won't happen because something tells Jade that Io isn't really happy about Rhea facing Jade for the title. She says that deep inside, she knows that Io is really mad at Rhea, but is just too afraid to show it. But I think that Io will show it at WrestleMania, and that will allow Jade to retain the title. Rhea reassures Jade that it won't happen because she knows that Jade has some secrets hidden inside that will come to roost at WrestleMania, teasing a potential return of Bianca Belair. Jade laughs and says she doesn't care because she is the champion and she is that bee. She leaves the ring while Rhea stares at her menacingly to end the segment. So, I don't know where we are at with Bianca Belair. I thought she was going to return to Elimination Chamber. She did not. If she does not come back at WrestleMania, I think that Jade Cargill will retain the title due to the finish where Io turns her back on Rhea Ripley by causing this sort of interference and costing Rhea Ripley her championship, basically. And that sort of betrayal causes both of them to split up, and that is your sort of feud for the rest of the year for Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And once Bianca comes back, Bianca can change. Bianca can basically challenge Jade for Jade's title, and then that's when we have that sort of match. I feel like this feud is kind of a holdover because they think that Bianca Belair might not come back at WrestleMania, might not return, so they decided, hey, Rhea Ripley, let's get her a chance. Ticket sales are down, let's get that boost, get Rhea on here, and when Bianca comes back, then we'll have Bianca challenge Jade for the title, and we'll have Jade kind of retain at Mania, and Rhea and Io are going to break up, and when they do break up, it will cause a huge moment for the audience. So, moving on, Tiffany Stratton takes on Chelsea Green. This happens because of what occurred last week. I will have Tiffany Stratton win by pinfall. After the match, Alpha Fire attacks Tiffany Stratton, but Jordynne Grace comes in for the rescue, and the faces are on top as the segment ends. I think this leads to a WrestleMania match between Chelsea Green, Alpha Fire, as they take on Tiffany Stratton and Jordynne Grace. It could be the episode after this, but I think we're kind of... this is probably going to be the top mid-card feud between the women of SmackDown, as not so great as it is. But this is what happens when you put Rhea Ripley on the sort of top contender for the top championship in your company. And the Women's US Championship, I have sort of a different frame in mind there, but if Tiffany Stratton and Jordynne Grace go for the US title, then I wouldn't mind, but I think they're keeping both of them at arm's length when regards to the championships for some reason, and that's not good. So, whatever, I suppose. Carmelo Hayes takes on Kit Wilson for the US Championship, but Kit Wilson loses a lot. Well, this happens because of a backstage segment. Carmelo Hayes wants some new challengers. Kit Wilson thinks that Carmelo Hayes is toxic and challenges Carmelo for a title shot. Carmelo is kind of laughing at this challenge, but you know what? Since he is so tolerant, since he is open to all challengers, he decides, you know what? Let's do it. So we have this match. And decisively, Carmelo Hayes wins by pinfall. After the match, Ilya comes out to challenge Carmelo Hayes to a US Championship match next week, or the episode after this. But he is attacked by Tama Tonga and the MFT. Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews come out for the save, but the MFT are still on top. Finally, the Wyatt Six come out as the lights turn off and on to attack the MFT and are on top as the segment closes. And they take back the lantern during the melee between them and the MFT. They kind of use that distraction as their chance to get the lantern from the MFT. So now, the Wyatt Six have the lantern, and at WrestleMania, they will cause the MFT to give up their championships and give it to some other tag team. So, there you go. I guess. I don't know how you can make this feud kind of interesting, but aside from making the teams hate each other, I guess they can fight over the lantern. If CM Punk and Roman Reigns, or what is it, Drew McIntyre, can make you care over a bracelet, maybe the Wyatt Six and the MFT will make you care about a lantern. So there you go. Main event. Cody Rhodes takes on Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship. I will have this end in a DQ when Jacob Fatu interferes by attacking Cody Rhodes. Cody and Jacob brawl while Drew tries to leave. He ends up being RKO'd by Randy Orton. And we have Nick Aldis and security kind of come out to try to restore some order, but all three of the men kind of brawl all across the ring, and Nick Aldis is just baffled by what is happening right now. And I think this will lead to, once again, a stipulation that I think should be... I don't know if I should say should be, but I think this is kind of the best way to do it, aside from a multi-man match. On the episode after this, Nick Aldis says, okay, you know what? This whole situation between Cody, Drew, and Jacob, this has gone on for way too long. And I know that, Cody, you want to be a part of WrestleMania as much as anyone else. I know you, Jacob, want some vengeance against Cody. And Randy Orton, you have a match against Drew at WrestleMania. So how about this? In night 1 of WrestleMania, Cody will take on Jacob Fatu. And whoever wins is inputted into the Randy versus Drew match on night 2. And whoever wins, as I said earlier, between Cody and Jacob, you get to be on that match. And you have a chance to take the title from Drew, because he knows that Jacob hates Drew and Cody hates Drew as well. So kind of an interesting stipulation to put on WrestleMania if they don't have any more matches to book. But basically, I'll have it so that Cody wins his match against Jacob, and then he turns heel in Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre versus Cody, and he gets the championship back with the help of some folks, and they form a new faction around Cody. And that's when you have Cody kind of being a heel and the leader of a faction that will be known as the Vision. Oh wait, that's taken. Something else. I don't know. The American Nightmares. There you go. Well
Question
done.
is, Bryan, this time, will Cody Rhodes defeat or ally with racism?
Ooh, good question. Kind of depends on who he will put in that group. I mean, he could ally with Apollo Crews. Okay, I know Apollo Crews has some, has some tag team options with Matt Cardona, but I don't know. There's not a lot
He's
of...
gonna tag team with Matt Cardona.
I don't know. All I'm saying is that I think Cody Rhodes is going to partner up with the Creed brothers. I'm still sticking with that. I think the Creed brothers would be a great addition to a Cody heel group. If they are still employed by the company, God knows if they are or not, but I think...
They apparently still are. I mean, I heard that rumor too, that they were going to ally with the Creed brothers. I don't know if it was you or I heard it somewhere else. They were going to do that, and to me, like if they didn't want the Creed brothers around, and Ivy Nile, they would have gotten rid of him already. I know Ivy Nile's been sort of a jobber lately with
Yeah.
in the women's mid card, but it that seems like the only reason they're keeping the Creed brothers around is to, be Cody's heel group. So
Yeah, remember when she challenged, what is it, Becky? Was it Becky? She challenged someone for a championship, and then that was thrown away. Like it was nothing. So, what the hell,
yeah,
man?
I think it was Becky for the IC title because they're doing the whole thing with
Yeah,
Maxine Dupree and Natty.
yeah. Oh well. I did hear some theories, though, from people that Randy Orton might turn heel as well. Where he kind of does the same thing as John Cena, where he does whatever he can to win number 15 because, number 15, he cares about the number 15. He wants that 15 championship. He'll do whatever he can. He'll give into his voices and turn heel. And also because I think a lot of people think that Randy Orton right now is kind of stale as a character. He's kind of he's not the legend killer. He's not as tenacious or as savage as before. So I think
Isn't that
that
his whole angle with Aleister Black though? Aleister Black's trying to like reawaken that in him. I kind of agree. He isn't
yeah,
as like unhinged as he used to be. Like RKOing Mae Young or Moolah or whatever, whoever he did. Like
yeah,
almost killing Billy Bob Orton. Like I know this. He's got not Billy Bob Orton. My bad. The other guy, Harley Race. Sorry.
Harley Race, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
mean, like, I would love to see him return to that because that was some unhinged chicanery that went on with him during that
Oh
age.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Legend Killer gimmick definitely elevated him, and a lot of people also suggested a tag team between Randy Orton and Aleister Black, which I don't know, man. I think that's a bit of an overkill. But I do think that it could head potentially if Randy doesn't take the title from Drew. I think it will head towards a Randy Orton versus Aleister Black feud. And then you could probably play around with the idea of them being allied to a degree. But I think it's a bit of an overkill if Aleister Black and Randy Orton were to be a tag team, because number one, the tag team division in SmackDown is not great. And second of all, I don't know where you can go with Aleister Black and Randy Orton being a tag team if they're not going to be chasing the tag team titles. Right, so yeah, Randy Orton being a heel could also be a possibility. And to be fair, I think if Randy Orton does turn heel at Mania, it would be great as well. It would be, a shot in the arm that the company needs right now. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Cody turning heel here because I think that is the better option. It kind of allows for Cody's character to be resurrected more so than Randy, and it gives him more of a legitimacy to getting back at the title. Even though, he's held it twice before, this time, he really wants to hold on to it forever. So, yeah, it gives him more of a case to turn heel than Randy, I guess. But I guess any other questions before we move on to your card, Mike?
So who do you think? I think you said it. It's number one contenders for the women's tag team title is going to be Charlotte Alexa with the heel turn at WrestleMania.
It is. No, it is Lyra and Bailey for the time being. And then potentially the Judgment Day, maybe. But I for the short term, their first sort of challengers would be Lyra and Bailey. And then they can move on from that, I suppose. Charlexa, I'm predicting a breakup at Mania. And Rhea and Io predicting a breakup there as well at Mania. So.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for my card.
All right. Let's move on to your card then. Starting off with.
We have a Cody Rhodes promo, as we usually do on these episodes of SmackDown. So Cody is coming out to put over himself for his title match tonight against Drew McIntyre. He says Drew has nobody but himself to blame for this situation. And that's the difference between Cody and Drew, is that Drew is an unhinged psychopath. Cody is an actual face of the company. He is the QB1, as he likes to say. So then Drew McIntyre comes out, tells Cody doesn't matter, he's going to beat him anyway. And then there's a brawl, and there you go. That's the end of the promo.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so are you leaning toward... I guess I gotta repeat the question, but are you still leaning towards a multi-man match at Mania, or where do you think the situation goes?
Yes. Yeah. I think there's a multi-man match at Mania. I think there is. Yeah.
Yep.
I hate to say it because, like, it really should be a singles match. I hate these multi-man matches. I like the singles match where it's 1v1. But, it is WrestleMania, and the name of the game is to stuff as many people on the card as you possibly can to sell tickets, and that's where we're going to be.
Yeah. I mean, 2 nights too, so they have a lot of matches to book.
It is 2 nights. 2 nights. A lot of matches leads to a lot of very mid stuff, and filler being thrown in there. So...
Are you saying you'd rather have a 4-hour WrestleMania in one day instead of a 2-day WrestleMania?
I would honestly rather them do like a WrestleMania that starts at 6 or 5 p.m. and go until 10 versus a 2-day, WrestleMania where it's like whatever, right? And have like, 8 matches, right? 8 matches is fine.
Yeah.
With a couple of like promo segments put in there, whatever. Because it's supposed to be like the show, and it's supposed to be for your biggest, feuds and your biggest stars, not a 8-pack ladder match between all of your fucking tag teams, including those Garza who haven't been relevant in like 10 years. They shouldn't be there. I'm sorry, they shouldn't. No, it should be about the big stories and the big stars, not just trying to chill as many tickets as you possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like we're getting to the point now where having a 2-night WrestleMania is kind of bordering on unnecessary. I do agree with you that a 4-hour WrestleMania is indeed better, but again, they gotta boost their ticket sales. They gotta make money, so it doesn't matter. 2-night WrestleMania is gonna make that lots of money, even though the ticket sales right now not so great. But money is their plan, and they will try to make as much of it. So 2 nights it is. Then, do you think Drew McIntyre retains at Mania though?
I think Cody. I agree with you. I think Cody is turning heel. I think I'm buying into the rumor because I think Cody has become very stale with his current white meat babyface gimmick. Even though he is still very much over, he's still getting the pops. He's still getting the woes. So crowd still loves him, and I think that. That happened with John Cena anyway. Like, they turned him heel, and it went pretty bad because they didn't really have, a plan for him. I think that this has been built a little better than John Cena's heel turn. Doesn't come out of nowhere, right? And I think that you know what I say, Bryon, all the time, is they're gonna go with the stupidest option possible, which is turning Cody Rhodes heel.
Yeah.
He's still very over. I think you'll still run into an issue where the crowd still likes him regardless. But Cody has played a heel before, and he can play it. So I think he does turn heel at WrestleMania and takes title from
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre. So
Yeah, we're no longer gonna hear enough every single time he comes out. It's just
bro, I love that last episode where who was speaking in the ring? Was it Drew?
I think so.
And then Cody just like, enough, 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 enough. I'm like, oh my god, bro, just go in there and grab the mic.
He's gonna sell the intensity, man. Yeah. No, that never gets old for some reason. But there you go. All right. Well, we'll move on from that then too.
A number one contendership match between Fraxium, the Wyatt Six, and Motor City Machine Guns. You can tell who is going to win this one because it's very obvious. I think that it is a no contest. There, you see, that's a swerve, bro.
Damn, Vince Russo.
It is a no contest because you and I know, again, they're going to do the stupidest option possible. Seeing as it's WrestleMania season, we are going to have we're going to have a 8-man tornado tag team match, Las Vegas riot, street fight, brawl, bar fight, whatever the hell you want to name it. We're going to have a gimmick fest, we're going to have a spot fest gimmick match at WrestleMania with these 4 teams for the tag team titles. And what happens here is basically the Wyatt Six are winning, the MFT come down, and they interfere, causing a no contest, but they manage to steal the lantern again. And this will end probably with the with the Wyatt Six winning at WrestleMania, getting their lantern back, and then the MFT can go off to, I don't know, Raw or something.
Raw, I guess. Yeah, I TLC match probably. It's probably going to be a TLC match, you know.
Probably a TLC match as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty cool, I guess. I mean, you know, those are always going to be fun for some folks, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to raise the sort of credibility of the tag team division. I think they would need to do more than that, but I guess we'll do a TLC match. Why not, I guess. Or a tornado tag, as you said. We'll move on from that then to
Jade Cargill comes out for a promo that lasts about 45 seconds, but unfortunately she took 15 seconds too long this time, so Rhea comes out to confront her. They have a stare down. They do the, you know, where they both look to the crowd very slowly. It takes about 30 seconds for them to actually do anything once they've both been animation locked in the ring. And Jade basically tells Rhea that she won't be able to beat her because she knows that she is that bitch, and Rhea hasn't won anything since about a year and a half ago without help, either from the Judgment Day or from Io Sky. Rhea says, yeah, I can say the same thing about you. Where is your friend? Because you pushed them all away. You know, typical woman, discussion here. Similar to last year, where, I don't know if you remember this, Bryan, but we had that really awkward segment between Bianca and Jade and Naomi where they were just a literal like screeching fest in the middle of the ring. It was very awkward to watch. It was like a high school, no offense, it was like a high school woman's friend group that's having a fight. But you never cared about me. Yeah, but I never did it. I'm like, guys, it's a fucking wrestling show, please. You don't need this. This is not what we expect from a wrestling show. We expect physical violence, not bitching and moaning. That being said, I think I think Rhea wins because, again, they want to sell tickets. And Jade, unfortunately, has had a very reign. And to
Yeah.
mirror the cage match commenter that I found last week, she is basically the female Goldberg.
Yeah.
So with none of the booking momentum behind her.
Nope.
So.
Unfortunately. Now, I did hear recently that Jade Cargill has gotten into some kerfuffle with the female locker room in the WWE.
Oh.
Yeah. In real life.
Not beating the Goldberg allegations at all.
But basically, no one knows if it's in character or not, but they're just it seems to me, looking at the the tweets, the X posts, whatever you want to call it, between Jade and Chelsea and some other folks in the women's locker room. But a bunch of women basically were talking about how Rhea's the most talented wrestler ever, and then Jade, ruffled some feathers and said something bad, and that caused a lot of the women to be like, "Hey, what the hell? Who the hell are you?" Let's talk about where you came from, that kind of deal, I suppose. And that sort of exploded into what happened now, I suppose. But do you think this will play a role in Jade's championship reign? Just the fact that she has kind of a bit of a bad behavior, although one might not know if she is in character or not, or if they are all in character or not. But
did she work herself into a shoot, or
that's what I'm saying. Do you think she worked
herself into a shoot? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea tweeted first that "Oh, Rhea Ripley is so talented and great. She's one of the best women's wrestler ever." And then Jade just piped in saying, "No, she freaking isn't, bro. Fucking slow down." And then proceeded to insult Chelsea Green, and then all these other women just piled on.
So I know, when you cut a promo on someone, right, you kind of can tell them beforehand it's like kayfabe or not, right? I know sometimes they add a little bit of spice into it,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. CM Punk calling out Roman's dad on Monday night was just great, fantastic. I love it. I love the vitriol.
You would love that.
But here's my question: is when you're tweeting, you're not next to someone usually. So you know how on some forums, right, they'll add a tag or something that says this is sarcasm, right? I mean, obviously for the smarter, people that watch this show and you and I, we can understand if someone is being sarcastic or not usually online, but sometimes you have to be explicit about it and tell someone you're being sarcastic so they understand.
Yeah.
How do these people tell each other that what they're tweeting out is kayfabe or not?
Oh,
or you just have to figure it out yourself.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a complete answer for that. That is a good question.
Did you mean this? You're like, nah, bro. Nah, brother. It's a work, brother.
I mean, I've heard of instances where for promos, someone would ask another wrestler if it's okay, to say this.
I've heard that.
Right? Yeah. But for tweets, I'm not sure, man. I think maybe they check up on each other and oh yeah, is it okay to tweet this? I guess, but I don't have information. Maybe WWE Unreal Season 3 will touch on it, but I don't know. I don't have the full answer to that. That is a good question. All right, well. With that, then, I suppose, we'll move on to...
Kairi Sane versus Alba Fire. Kairi Sane comes out with Asuka. This is because last week, Kairi Sane took out Chelsea Green, who was on commentary in a wheelchair. I fully expect Chelsea Green to pull some sort of Kevin Nash, sits up out of the wheelchair. Turns out her ankle was not broken. To take out Kairi Sane and Asuka, maybe starting a feud. I don't know. Who knows? But basically, yeah. So Kyrie took out Chelsea last week, so Alba is going to job yet again to Kyrie Sane. I think this is to swing the pendulum back a little bit in this like weird toxic domination relationship that Asuka has with Kyrie Sane. By the way, you want to talk about some people who really love each other.
Yeah.
Find someone who looks at you like Rhea Ripley and Io Sky look at each other. Like they were like, I was like, you guys gonna like, what are we doing here? This is getting a little bit close. I mean, geez, man. Like I've never seen two. I mean, I don't know. We're men, so we don't. We're not
We don't know what
emotional.
women
But I've
think.
never seen two women who are not like romantically engaged look at each other like that. I mean, I know you can have people who are friends,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was a little close, man. So it was a little close. It's a
Yes.
little bit close. Anyway.
And they say the company is not woke enough because they talk about the White House and feeling President Trump or whatever the hell the internet says. But yeah,
Man, watch the product, bro. It ain't that.
Don't complain, bro. Just watch the product. Anyway, okay, so I got are you predicting a Kabuki Warriors breakup at Mania or later on this year?
Yeah, probably. I think what happens here is Kyrie wins, Asuka celebrates with her, right? You swing the pendulum back a little bit in the other direction.
Okay.
They're actually okay together. And I'm assuming that we'll have some sort of women's tag team ladder match, TLC, something another spot fest at WrestleMania, where they break up finally. So,
All right. Okay. We'll move on then to the main event, which is
the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Drew finally gets his comeuppance for the weeks of IRL trolling that he has done. I think Drew wins this one via disqualification after Jacob Fatu comes down to attack both of them. Jacob lays out both the competitors, tries to steal the belt, and then he is laid out himself by Randy Orton, who comes down to RKO Jacob Fatu, and he raises the belt as the show fades to black. So I think this is leading to either what you said, where we have like a number one contender edition match at night one between Cody and Jacob, and whoever wins that one goes on to night two and participates in the three-way. Or if you want to keep it more simple, we just have a straight four-way at WrestleMania.
yeah.
It does feel like Jacob Fatu is starting to get into that LA Knight territory of being a golden jobber.
Oh.
What do you think, Brian?
Golden Jobber for Jacob Fatu.
He's on Golden Jobber watch. How you have like a tornado watch? He's on Golden Jobber watch for me. Man. He's getting there. He's getting there.
He is getting there. Yes. I will say yeah. I mean, I think Jacob Fatu is in an interesting position right now. I think that he had a rivalry against Cody because he thinks Cody attacked him. We still have not gotten answers to who attacked Jacob Fatu, by the way. But anyway, Jacob Fatu thinks Cody attacked him. So that's why we have that feud between Cody and Jacob. And now Jacob is getting roped into the Drew and Randy Orton business. So he's kind of like a victim of circumstance, I suppose. And I do think that they're trying to sort of position him into the main event spot by entering this whole Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton situation because Cody just so happens to be there as well. And Jacob doesn't like Cody, so he's put in there. But I do think it will be... Yeah, I think it'll be a watch for Jacob Fatu just to see where he ends up. He could be a golden jobber. I mean, he could get close to the championship without ever being champion at this point. But we'll see what they decide to do with him because I think Jacob is in an interesting position right now. I'm not sure if they want to continue building him up to be next in line, or if they're just like, well, we'll put you up against Cody again, and then we'll reveal the actual attacker of Jacob Fatu later in the year. So you get the actual feud between Jacob and who attacked him. But yeah, it's interesting, I suppose, for Jacob. But we'll put him on watch. All right, we'll put him on the watch. We'll see what happens as we head into March or I suppose the end of March and the start of April. So, but for now, I think that's it. That's what we got. That's what we predict and book for the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And as I said earlier, we will watch said next episode when it airs, and then we'll come back here and tell you what we got. So until then, thank you for ordering a blue cheese pizza called probably next week on Smackdown from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh oven-baked crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos!